The crash of glass cut through the noise of dinner service at the Golden Spoon. Samantha Morgan froze mid-step, heart pounding. "I'm so sorry," she blurted, crouching to collect shards before they reached the customer's feet. From across the room, Frank, her manager, crosses arms. "Third one this month, Morgan. Coming out of your check." The word stung more than the cut on her finger. Diners pretended not to hear, eyes fixed on their plates. Samantha forced a nod. "Won't happen again." At 27, her hands told the story of years in food service, callous, blistered, trembling from exhaustion. It wasn't the life she'd planned. For years ago, she'd been a top medical student on track to be a pediatrician. That dream had ended the night her mother collapsed. The diagnosis, multiple sclerosis, had rewritten everything. Tuition gave way to hospital bills. Classrooms became shifts. "Table 12 needs more bread, Samantha," Frank barked. "Right away." As she hustled to the crowded restaurant, pain pulsed up her spine. Double shifts were her norm now. Noon to close, 6 days a week. The younger waitresses joked, flirted, and left early. Samantha stayed until the lights went off. "Hey, Sam." Jessica, the 19-year-old server, whispered with a grin, "Can you cover my section for 20 minutes? Brad's outside." Samantha hesitated. "I've got my own tables." "Come on, you owe me from last week when you took that call from your mom's doctor." That tiny guilt trip worked. "Fine, 20 minutes. An hour later, Jessica was still gone. Samantha's feet screamed, and Frank's glare followed her like a shadow. At closing time, Frank pinned next week's schedule to the board. Samantha waited for the crowd to clear. When she checked her name, her stomach dropped. 4 shifts missing. "Frank, there's a mistake," she said, following him to his office. "No mistake. Jessica needed hours. She lives with her parents," Samantha said quietly. "She's saving for Cancun." "Not my problem, Morgan. Schedule's final." Her pulse raced. Fewer shifts meant missing rent, missing her mother's meds. But she couldn't afford to argue. Hours later, a new table appeared, a man in a tailored suit and a girl in a wheelchair. The staff avoided them. Samantha's jaw tightened. She grabbed menus and approached with a warm smile. "Welcome to the Golden Spoon. I'm Samantha." The man looked up, handsome, composed. "I'm Lucas, and this is my daughter, Emma." Samantha knelt beside the girl. "Nice to meet you, Emma. Can I get you something to drink?" The girl glanced up shyly, her blue eyes full of quiet pain. Samantha recognized that look, one of silent endurance. As the night went on, Samantha noticed Emma flinch at loud noises. Without comment, she stood to shield the girl from the chaos. She brought her a strawberry lemonade with a bendy straw and took their order. When Lucas ordered chicken tenders for Emma, Samantha caught the girl staring at the mac and cheese picture. She leaned close. "Ours is the best in town. 3 cheeses and crispy breadcrumbs. Want that instead?" Emma's tiny nod said yes. From the kitchen window, Frank sneered. "Stop wasting time on table 7. We're not a charity." Samantha ignored him. When the food arrived, Emma struggled to hold her fork. Lucas looked helpless. "Could you?" Samantha pulled up a chair. "Mind if I help Emma?" The girl nodded. Samantha steadied her trembling hand. "Your brain's perfect," she said softly. "It's just sending signals that your hand's not catching yet. Happens to the best of us." "You were a doctor?" Emma asked. "Almost," Samantha smiled. "I was studying to be one." "Why did you stop?" "My mom got sick. She needed me." Emma managed to bite on her own, grinning proudly. "I had an accident," she whispered. "That's why I can't walk." "You're doing amazing," Samantha said warmly. "And I bet you're good at lots of other things." "I can draw," Emma said shyly. "That's incredible. Most people can't draw with one hand, let alone their left." Emma giggled, a bright, musical sound that turned heads. Lucas's eyes softened. "Thank you," he mouthed. By the time they finished dessert, Emma was chattering about her art teacher. When Lucas handed Samantha his card for payment, she noticed the embossed name, Lucas Bennett. It sounded familiar. Emma looked up as they left. Will you be here tomorrow? Before Samantha could reply, Frank appeared. Office. Now. Lucas's friendly face turned watchful. Inside the cramped office, Frank's smirk made her stomach churn. 30 minutes on one table. We're not running a daycare. That child needed help, she replied. Not our concern, Frank snapped. 2 shifts next week. 1 dinner, 1 lunch. That's not enough to live on. Not my problem. He shoved an envelope at her. It felt too light. $43 for 10 hours. Samantha walked out numb. At home, her mother slept peacefully, her medication chart neatly updated. On the counter, bills waited. Electricity overdue. Pharmacy notice for $800 of medication she couldn't afford. She sat in silence until her phone buzzed. A text from kind Mrs. Chun, their elderly neighbor. Your mom ate all her dinner. Left soup in the fridge for you. Samantha smiled weakly through tears. On her laptop, she saw an unread message from Dr. Winters, her old advisor. A position has opened in pediatric neurology, tuition remission and stipend. Deadline extended for you. The message was 3 weeks old. The deadline had passed yesterday. She emailed anyway, pleading for an extension. At dawn, a knock startled her. A courier stood at the door. Delivery for Samantha Morgan. He handed her a thick cream-colored envelope. Inside, a note on fine stationery. Ms. Morgan, your kindness to my daughter last night was extraordinary. I would appreciate the opportunity to discuss a matter of mutual benefit. My car will arrive at 9 a.m. to bring you to my office, should you choose to accept. Emma asks that you consider it carefully. Lucas Bennett, CEO, Bennett Restaurant Group. Samantha's breath caught. Lucas Bennett wasn't just a customer. He owned the Golden Spoon. At 9 o'clock sharp, a black town car waited outside her building. Samantha smoothed her blazer, her old med school interview outfit, and climbed into the sleek car. Anxiety knotted her stomach as the city skyline rose ahead. At Bennett Enterprises, a polished assistant escorted her to the 40th floor. The elevator doors opened to a sunlit conference room. Inside sat Emma, beaming. You came. Dad said you might be too busy. I'm glad I wasn't. Samantha smiled, relaxing. Dad's solving a problem, Emma said mysteriously. He said you should eat. Adults forget to. Moments later, Lucas entered, now every inch the CEO. Thank you for coming, Miss Morgan, he said warmly. An urgent issue at the Golden Spoon required attention. What's this about? Samantha asked. Lucas's expression hardened. Everything that happened last night. He slid a folder across the table. Financial records, schedules, her personnel file. Frank's been stealing employee tips for months and manipulating shifts. Especially yours. Samantha's mouth fell open. The door burst open. Frank stormed in, red-faced. You set me up. You and your crippled accomplice. Lucas's tone dropped to ice. You're speaking about my daughter, and a valued employee. Frank froze. Lucas continued, calm but lethal. As of this morning, you're terminated. Security will escort you out. Frank sputtered protests as guards led him away. When silence fell, Lucas turned back to Samantha. Now, let's discuss your future, Miss Morgan, or should I say, former medical student Samantha Morgan. She stiffened. How do you know that? I had my team look into your background, Lucas said gently. You were top of your class, specializing in pediatrics. You gave that up for your mother. That kind of sacrifice tells me who you are. He leaned forward. I'm offering you a choice. Her breath caught. Option 1, General Manager of the Golden Spoon. Triple your salary. Full health coverage for your mother. Her eyes widened. Option 2, a position at Bennett Enterprises Community Health Initiative. Medical outreach, higher pay, better hours. Why? She whispered. You barely know me. Lucas's composure cracked. Because in 15 minutes with my daughter, you did what no doctor could. She talked. She laughed. You reached her. He hesitated. Emma's accident took my wife. It left her paralyzed and terrified of the world. Until you... Samantha's throat tightened. There's a third option. Lucas continued, sliding another folder across. Re-entry into Monroe Medical. Full scholarship. Stipend. Approved this morning. Dr. Winters and I are both on the hospital board. Samantha's hands trembled as she read the acceptance letter. But I can't. My mom, she needs full-time care. Lucas opened one last file. She'll have it. Accessible housing, in-home nursing, everything covered. No strings attached. Tears blurred her vision. Why would you do this? Because you gave me something I thought I'd lost forever. My daughter's smile. Samantha stepped to the balcony. Gulping cold air, it was too much. Too generous. Too unreal. When she returned, Emma was back, watching her hopefully. Are you going to be my doctor someday? Samantha laughed softly. Maybe. Then, meeting Lucas's eyes, she said firmly, if I do this, it's because I earned it, not because you're buying a friend for Emma. Lucas nodded. Agreed. And my mother's care stays no matter what. Of course. Samantha knelt beside Emma. Then tell your brain pathways student I'll be sticking around. Emma's smile could have lit the city. 1 year later, the lecture hall buzzed as Samantha, now in her white coat, reviewed notes for pediatric neurology. Her phone buzzed. Dinner at your place tonight? Emma wants apple cobbler. Samantha smiled. Her mother was thriving in the new apartment. Emma was walking short distances with therapy, and Sunday dinners had become family tradition. After class, Dr. Winters called her into the office. Lucas was waiting. The board approved the new children's rehab center, he said, eyes shining. The Emma Bennett Center for Pediatric Rehabilitation. And we want you to lead it. Samantha blinked, overwhelmed. Dr. Winters smiled. You'll be the youngest medical director in Monroe's history. Samantha looked from Lucas to her mentor. I only did what anyone would have, she murmured. Lucas shook his head. No, Samantha, you did what only you could do. Emma's laughter echoed in her memory, the sound that had changed everything.